And honestly, if you have watched the show, I don't think I would even recommend you need to read the book because I feel like you might be disappointed. Hello, and thank you for joining me here at Why the Book Wins, where I compare books with their movie adaptations. Today, I'm continuing my coverage of Dark Matter, comparing the book with the TV show, and this will be my final video on Dark Matter because it has now come to an end. So thank you to everybody who has been watching these videos and joining me along this journey. And if you have not yet subscribed, you definitely should, and stick around for other book versus movie content that I post. And I will link to my previous Dark Matter videos in the description in case you have not watched them yet. But yeah, in today's video, we're just diving right in. So there will be spoilers right off the bat, and I'm just going to begin with episode 7. So in this episode, Amanda takes them into a world that is very futuristic and very impressive and beautiful. And while in this world, she tells Jason that she has looked up herself, the Amanda of this world, and she has been missing for 2 years, and her parents are dead, and she has no siblings. And so basically, it's a perfect spot for her to stay put because Amanda, she's not like Jason where she's searching for a specific world. She can't go back to her world. And so she's just like, you know, this world seems awesome and my Amanda's been missing, so it seems like the perfect fit. And she does want Jason to stay and she invites him to stay with her. But as much as Jason cares for Amanda, ultimately he needs to keep going and looking for his world and his Daniela. And so from here they part ways and Jason goes back into the box in order to find his world. Meanwhile, Jason too, if you remember, he abandoned Ryan in a different world. And so now there's a detective questioning him about the disappearance of Ryan. And so in order to get this detective off his back, he then breaks open the cement because he had blocked off the box, and he goes into a world where Ryan is a deadbeat, and he takes this Ryan, gets him drunk, brings him to his world. That way now the authorities won't question him in the disappearance of Ryan. Meanwhile, this Ryan is just super confused and has no idea what is going on. And Daniela goes to see him, and Daniela talking to this Ryan just makes her further realize that Jason is up to no good and there's something is going on. But then back to Jason 1, our main Jason, he uses what Amanda told him about how when you open up the door to a new world, you need to focus on your emotions and the people and just like the emotional details, basically, because he was focused too much on the logical details. But when he focuses on the emotion and his memories of meeting Daniela for the first time, he is finally able to get into his world. However, he then goes to a gun store to buy a gun so that he can stop Jason too. But then we see another Jason go into the gun store as well to buy a gun. And so basically it is revealed that the box and Jason's time in there, since he has been kidnapped, it spawned many Jasons, all of whom want to get back to Daniela. And that is how the episode ends. And then my thoughts on the episode and what it changed from the book. So Amanda does take them to a very futuristic world in the book. However, this happens early on and they do not stay. And so they are in a different world when Amanda decides to part ways with Jason. Except in the book, she doesn't have a conversation with him. She just writes him a note and leaves in the night. And so I much preferred the TV show. It was much more emotional and we just have fantastic performances in this. Like everybody is just incredible. And this is the last time we see Amanda for the most part. And yeah, her performance was amazing. And you just really feel what a difficult choice this is for each of them. And yet at the same time, you're happy for Amanda and that she has found a world that seems awesome and that she seems to be in a good place by the time, you know, as they're leaving. Like she's going down the elevator and she's crying, but then she starts to smile. And yeah, it was just such a great moment. Beautiful scene, sad, but I loved it. And also he and Amanda just had such great chemistry. So I just loved the bond they had. But again, you understand that he couldn't have stayed with her because he needs to find his wife and his son. And then I also loved the gun store scene and that reveal. And that scene is from the book. And in the book, that part, like I had not seen that coming. I did not consider the fact that there would be so many other multiverses, so many other Jasons that would be created from his time in the box. Like all of these Jasons, again, they're all the ones with the twine around their finger. They all love Daniela. They all are willing to do whatever it takes to get back to her. And so, yeah, I just had not anticipated this in the book, and it is such a crazy moment. And yeah, I thought the show did a great job with that as well. But something the show left out from the book is that before he gets to his world and, you know, he realizes there are other Jasons, he starts to lose hope and almost give up in a way, and he becomes homeless. and he kind of just is like a homeless drunk for a little while. And I was not a fan of this part in the book because he's not going to stay like this, right? Like there's enough of the book left that clearly something more will happen. Also, how disappointing would it be if it just ended with him giving up, But anyway, in the book, I didn't like this. And it felt like suddenly just the brakes were pressed on the story and we were just stuck in this world where nothing was happening. I get it's supposed to show like the emotional toll this is taking on him to the point where he is just willing to give up almost. And I don't know. I can understand the purpose of it. And yet at the same time, I wasn't a fan of it. And so I therefore was very glad that the TV show didn't even bother including this. And then I also wanted to mention a theory that someone commented on one of my other Dark Matter videos is that throughout this show, we're seeing Jason and Amanda in these different worlds they visit within the box, and we're kind of left to assume that we are seeing the same Jason experience each of these things. However, by the end, we know that there are multiple Jasons within the box trying to get back to Daniela. And so these different worlds we see him experience with Amanda, it's not all necessarily the same Jason. Like we could be getting experiences from multiple Jasons. And so when all is said and done, like to skip to the end, when, we see our Jason with Daniela, we don't know which of the experiences we've seen this Jason has actually experienced and which ones were experienced by other Jasons, if that makes sense. And so I had not even considered that because the book, I think everything is told from one Jason's perspective and everything he tells us is happening to one man. But in the TV show, I think we're seeing things that happen to multiple Jasons. And so we don't even know which experiences necessarily happened to the final Jason and which were to the other Jasons. But then I also wanted to mention in my first video, I talked about how this book definitely has It's a Wonderful Life vibes with the themes it's going for. And one of the early episodes definitely makes a nod to It's a Wonderful Life. And then we get that here as well, because when he gets to his world, the local theater is playing It's a Wonderful Life. And then to get into episode 8, so Jason, it starts interacting with these other Jasons that are coming into this world. And again, just realizing how all of them are desperate to be with Daniela, just like he is. But our Jason has the idea to be arrested for smoking in a diner. And then when he is in jail, he calls Daniela to bail him out. So he is able to get Daniela to come to him. Once she is there, he tells her what has been happening and he's able to convince her, at least to some extent, of the truth of what he is saying. But then they part ways, but they plan on a place to meet and they have a safe word. And so she doesn't guarantee she will meet him because this is a lot she has to process, but they do plan a spot to meet if she decides to meet with him. Meanwhile, Jason too, so he had been with Charlie and they were looking at a college campus when then one of the other Jasons tracks him down and they have this fight in the bathroom. And so he takes Charlie home. And so when Daniela gets home from seeing our Jason, Jason too is packing up a bag and he's telling her like, we gotta go. I'll explain later, but get a bag and start packing. But Daniela, of course, at this point knows what's going on. And so she basically is able to push Jason down the basement stairs and then she shuts the door and then she and Charlie make a run for it. And ultimately they do meet up with our Jason. And the three of them are just reunited and it's his first time seeing Charlie, like being able to hug him. And it was a great moment. And so a lot of this is right from the book, all of the other Jasons in this world and him meeting up with them, like talking to one of them in the bar, as well as him having the unique idea to be arrested, which was a great way to get Daniela to come to him. And then in both, the way he is able to convince Daniela that what he is saying at least holds some merit is that he has her call Jason too. And he tells her like, tell him you want to go back to the Keys because we went last Christmas and you loved it so much. And she's like, we didn't go to the Keys. And he's like, yeah, I know that, but this Jason doesn't. And so Jason too, he plays along, acting like they went to the Keys. And so she realizes, one, that there's two Jasons because she's talking on the phone while there's another right here, but also that Jason too is an imposter. And I loved these scenes when he finally gets to see Daniela for the first time. Like it's been so long and he finally sees her. And then the scene at the Bean when the three of them are reunited, I got a little teary because that scene was just so wonderful. And also that is unique to the show because in the book, once he sees Daniela at the police station, from there, she sticks with him and then they go pick up Charlie and everything. So we didn't get this moment where she decides to meet up with him and then they have a reunion, But the scene at the Bean was so sweet and I loved it. And yeah, I know I've praised Daniela in past episodes, but I just love her character here. I love how she is tracking down Jason too and is trying to figure out what is going on. And then I loved how she pushes him down the stairs. Like, that was a great moment too. But yeah, Jennifer Connelly is just giving such an amazing performance. And then of course, Joel Edgerton playing so many different versions of Jason. He is just doing a spectacular job because each Jason has such a different vibe and demeanor. And yeah, he's doing amazing. But also there's a part where after she and Charlie leave the house, they get in a car with another Jason, and it turns out it's not our Jason, it's some other guy. And so Daniela realizes this. But then the Jason, he gets in a car accident, he hits another car, and so Daniela and Jason are able to get out of the car and make a run for it. But the car he hits, there was another Jason in that car. And in both book and movie, I just love the multiple Jasons that we have going on, and it's such an insane situation, and we have both of these Jasons calling out to her as she and Charlie run away. But yeah, that was a great scene too. And now to move on to the final episode. So Daniela and Charlie and Jason, they are in Blair's car, Blair being Daniela's coworker who is unique to the show. So they're driving away and he has Charlie pick where they go because he can't pick because all of the Jasons think like him. And so Charlie picks like his friend's parents' vacation home. And so they are spending time in this home and they are just like reconnecting and bonding, and they just have such great chemistry and just like that family bond that they are finally feeling after so long of not feeling it with Jason too. And they're also filling him in on like some of the things that happened with Jason too, like him almost killing Charlie with the nuts. And yeah, I just loved these moments. Again, the cast has such great chemistry, and I just loved seeing this family reunited, and they just have so many scenes that are just like so sweet and heartwarming and just wonderful. But meanwhile, Jason 2, another Jason shows up to his house and he beats up Jason 2 trying to figure out where Daniela is. But he and this Jason talk, and Jason 2 is asking him like, oh, like, what have you been through? Like, what happened? And so Jason, this other Jason, fills in Jason 2 on just like the crazy, horrible things that have happened, and how this Jason's Amanda, she had died. And so Jason 2 is just realizing like, one, this wasn't as good of an idea as he thought. And he had thought that Jason would love being in his world where he was a success. And so he's realizing that things didn't work out as well as he thought. It was more complicated, but also just realizing the differences between him and our Jason. But then from here, they're able to get Blair to the apartment, and then they're able to track where her car is. And so Jason 2 drives to where he knows Jason and Daniela and Charlie are, but then he is followed by other Jasons. And so Jason, our Jason, he is attacked by some other Jasons before Jason 2 shows up and he saves him. And then he gives a car key to Jason, Daniela, and Charlie, and he helps them escape. And he also leaves them with a bunch of ampules as well as a voice memo. And basically, like, he is remorseful and he apologizes and he's wanting to make it right. So he is helping them escape and get to the box where they can start fresh and be safe. And once they get to the box, there are a bunch of other Jasons there, but they say like, we're just here to say goodbye. You know, we accept what you have chosen, and yeah, we just want to say bye. And so from there, the Jasons allow our Jason, Daniela, and Charlie to go into the box. And then that is the end. One of the bigger changes is with Jason 2, because in the book, Jason 2 doesn't learn the error of his ways, and he doesn't have like this awakening where he realizes the mistakes he made kind of a thing, and he's not humbled in any way. In the book, Jason 2, so Jason is being attacked by another Jason, and so Jason 2 saves our Jason, but then he is going to kill our Jason. However, Daniela and Charlie are there, and so they're having this standoff when Charlie interferes enough that our Jason is then able to kill Jason 2. And so Jason 2 dies in the end of the book. And then from there, our Jason, Daniela, and Charlie, they drive to the box. However, in both book and show, there is a chat room that is started that has hundreds of Jasons. And in the book, our Jason suggested the lottery system, and that is how they pick who will get Daniela. And so he tells them to meet at the box, and they'll do the lottery. And so when they show up at the box, all of these other Jasons are here to do the lottery system to see who will get Daniela. However, Daniela tells them like, no, we're not doing the lottery. She never liked that idea to begin with. But she tells them like, I have chosen to stay with this Jason, and you guys just need to accept it. And so then from there, they go into the box, and that's how the book ends. But yeah, I really loved in both book and movie, we have the scene where she and our Jason are just really connecting and bonding and feeling that love again, and just feeling how right it is and how they connect. And so she tells him, you know, like when we first met, it could have been anyone, right? That like walked up to me and who I ended up marrying essentially. And she's like, it could have been anyone, but it was you. And so she feels like that him having the idea to call her to go to the police station and just everything that's happened, she said that it feels like once again, like she is destined to be with this Jason, just like she was destined to be with him back when they met 15 years prior. And so we have this moment in both book and show where she is like, you are the Jason I want to be with. And yeah, very sweet scene in both book and movie. And yeah, the lottery system is brought up in the TV show, but a different Jason in the chat room has the idea and it is quickly dismissed. It is never seriously considered. Also in the show, like I said, they find their location because Blair's car has tracking. Whereas in the book, they find out where they are staying because Charlie, you know, Jason had them turn off their phones, but then Charlie turns on his phone so he can text a friend. And then because his cell phone is on, they are able to track their location. But then also at the end of the show, we get this scene where we see other people who have been in or out of the box, you know, like Blair, as well as the Leighton who went in the box. And then we also see Amanda meeting up with Ryan because apparently when Jason tossed Ryan into a different world, it happened to be the same world that Amanda ended up in. And so we see Ryan, he is creating another concoction similar to what he had made for Jason so that he can go into the box again. Yeah, this part was crazy because they meet up and she's like, do you know me? And he's like, no, but I've been looking for you. And so I was definitely intrigued by this ending. This was not in the book at all. Like Ryan, he is not a featured character. And like I said, stuff with Jason too, all the details with him are not in the book. But yeah, that was a very intriguing ending. And then just seeing like Leighton, he seems to be loving his time in the box. So that was a great scene, seeing all of these other people. And so if they do a season 2, I'm assuming this is kind of getting us excited for a potential season 2. But yeah, when it comes to book versus show, I will say the show wins. I preferred it. There were so many more details. And again, I loved everything with Jason too and seeing what was happening with him. But there were, in some cases, there were things where in the moment it was interesting, but then now that the show has come to an end, it feels like some aspects were just kind of pointless. And they were just there just to keep us interested, but then they didn't lead anywhere. Unless there's a season 2, in which case something could happen. But the detective who in one world is questioning Leighton about Jason's disappearance, and then in another world she's questioning Jason about Ryan's disappearance. Although in that world it was solved because he got another Ryan. But still, now we have this Ryan who has no idea what he's doing in this world where he's a success. And then yeah, the world where Leighton was being questioned by a detective, that Leighton went into the box and apparently died. But yeah, just different things that kept us interested throughout the show, but then in some ways almost didn't really lead anywhere, I guess. But again, maybe they're just setting it up for a season 2. And again, I still enjoyed the show and I still liked those changes because it definitely kept me engaged. And then the acting and the chemistry was just so phenomenal. Just these performances just brought the story to life and just elevated it and enhanced the story. Yeah, even though I feel like the show was a bit too long and it didn't necessarily need to be a 9-hour adaptation, I still preferred it over the book. And honestly, if you have watched the show, I don't think I would even recommend you need to read the book because I feel like you might be disappointed. Because when I read the book for the second time, I was not as engaged in it as I had been the first time because I knew what was going to happen. And so if you've seen the show, I think you'll be disappointed in the book because there are less details in the book. And 2, I just don't think you'll be as invested because you know the end. So that is my opinion. I would love to know what you think. If you have read the book and seen the show, would you still recommend the book to people who haven't read it? I personally wouldn't. But yeah, share your thoughts down below in the comments. Let me know what you prefer, the book or the show. Let me know if you think there will be a season 2. Let me know your thoughts on Ryan and Amanda meeting up in this futuristic world. I had not anticipated them coming together. But yeah, if there's a season 2 and if it's all about Ryan and Amanda, and then maybe this other version of Leighton, and then obviously there's going to be all these other versions of Daniela, Charlie, and Jason as well, you know, because now they're going to be exploring the box as well. So it's just going to be so many people in and out of this box if there's a season 2. But anyway, yeah, I guess that wraps it up though on my thoughts on Dark Matter. Ultimately, I did like the book, but my second time reading it, I definitely liked it less because I just didn't think it held up on a second read. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.